Yeah, I mean, I assisted in all of that.
I'm Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to a special press conference. I think most people are aware that last June, I apologize, last June, Ron Seaman announced that he was going to retire approximately the end of the first quarter of 2023. Shortly after that announcement, the commissioners put out a notification through HR that we were seeking a new COO. Shortly after that, the commissioners hired Herbine Mosteller to do a thorough search for a new COO, and they did an extensive search over the course of the summer and into the early fall. They reviewed all resumes and applications that were submitted to the county. They did telephone interviews with those applicants they deemed qualified. Those that moved on, they did face-to-face interviews. And in October, they submitted a binder to the commissioners, initially with 6 finalists. There ended up being 7 finalists. Also in this binder were additional resumes and applications of people that didn't quite make the cut, but they wanted us to be able to see that list. Ultimately, the committee and the committee that reviewed were composed of the commissioners, the Department of Emergency Services director, our CFO, our HR director, and our solicitor, and as well as our COO, interviewed the finalists. In the end, of the 5 outside candidates, we interviewed 3. 2 withdrew from the process, so we interviewed 3 outside candidates, and we interviewed 2 inside candidates. About 2 weeks ago, we realized as a committee that we may have a unique opportunity to not just hire a COO, but to hire a COO and a deputy COO. And ultimately, we were able to come to an agreement with both individuals. And today we're here to announce that the new Berks County COO will be Commissioner Kevin Barnhart, and that the new deputy COO will be Register of Wills Larry Medaglia. Larry, if you could please come forward and join us. You're gonna sit here. Yes.
So when we started the process, I was clear that I did not want to select someone just because they were the best of the candidates that we had. I wanted to select someone who I felt was the best for the job, and I believe the team felt the same way. And after a 6 months process, that is what we did. Shortly after starting the process internally, Commissioner Barnhart threw his name in the hat. At that point, both he and his executive assistant, Jessica Blauser, were removed from all communications and discussions that were related to filling the position. Larry then applied a week after Commissioner Barnhart did. Shortly after, we hired Herbine Mosteller to help us through the process to ensure that we had the best possible candidates for the position. Both Commissioner Barnhart and Larry went through the process just like all candidates did. Actually, I think we scrutinized them a little bit more. This was a deliberate and thoughtful process. We had much discussion, hours upon hours of meetings, but no one pre-selected in our minds. We wanted to make sure we were making the right hire for the county. After the interviews, it was clear that they were the top 2. They had the opportunity also to meet with each other one-on-one to discuss to see if it would be a fit for each other, because we wanted to make sure that they were able to work together. Initially, the process would be that the COO would be hired, then they would hire the deputy COO. So before we made everything official, we allowed them to meet various times, which they did, have discussions to make sure that it was a fit for both of them, and it was. So we are very happy to have both Commissioner Barnhart and Larry join the team to help the county move forward. Why Commissioner Barnhart and Larry? From my point of view, Commissioner Barnhart has 15 years of experience as a county commissioner. I think one thing that I will benefit from is being able to now sit down with him and have open conversations about his experience, what he has learned, and to help me get input from mine. As you know, sunshine laws prevent us from sitting down and having open conversation unless it's in a publicly announced meeting or in an executive session. So I feel I will benefit from that. He's also had numerous prior years of municipal government experience as well as private sector experience, which he's bringing all that together. He also has relationships established with county departments, and he brings diverse knowledge and skills to the position. So I'm very happy to have Commissioner Barnhart on our team. Larry also has many, many, many years of government experience as well. And Larry, working on the row side, he has great experience and relationships with the courts and the other elected row officers as well. Something that Larry also brings to the table is his many years of coaching and mentoring, which we feel is key to be able to help move the county forward in the direction that we want to take it. I also want to thank the team that worked with us to get through this process. As I said, there were many, many hours of meetings, discussions, and input into this. Their input and insight was extremely valuable. I now have the pleasure of introducing you to our new COO, Commissioner Kevin Barnhart.
Good morning and thank you. It's overwhelming at this point. First, I want to thank Herbine Mosteller for your interrogation and your support. It was really a challenge. I mean, I think we met 5 or 6 times till I was moved to the selection team. I want to thank the selection team, the commissioners especially, Jesse Blauser, who is my rock here at the office and will be coming along with me in my new expanded role, and my wife of 41 years, Pam Barnhart, who has been my support in all my endeavors. She's my biggest critic and my biggest fan. So thank you, and I love you. It's going to be hard to replace Ron with his decades upon decades of knowledge and service, but I think the mere fact that the commissioners are hiring 2 of us speaks volumes of Ron Seaman's work ethic and what he's been doing alone, and now we will have an enhanced team to make that happen. For me, it's going to be an easy transition from a decision maker to the decision implementer. I think after 15 years, I think I'm ready to hit the ground running, knowing all the departments, knowing the ins and outs of the budget and those sorts of things. And again, I bring my 39 years of government service, and I think I have an opportunity to contribute in a different way. It's a logical transition for Jesse and myself. We're just moving across the hall. Want to help to encourage an even stronger work environment, not just with the elected officials, the courts, and our department heads. We will continue to have an open door policy. Our door is always open, but we will encourage you to have at least 2 solutions to the issue you bring to our desk. And I believe Larry and I will soon, once we are officially in place, we'll start meeting in person in departments with the department heads to not only introduce the department heads, but we also want to see the staff and see the what's taking place in those departments. Again, we're going to be open and transparent. I looked this up this morning. I think there's only 3 department heads that were here prior to me serving as county commissioner. Most I helped to hire and also to promote. And if anybody can guess who those 3 people are, there'll be Snicker bars for you afterwards. There's a quiz later. So not overwhelming administrative task that Ron has shepherded through his 7+ years here as our chief operations officer, but there's 44 major projects taking place. So between Larry and I and our staff, we're going to really need to juggle those projects and see them come to fruition. A lot of these started a few years ago, a lot started this year, and we need to move those forward. Critical area for me will be elections. Now that I will no longer be an elected official, I'll be able to spend a lot more time, critical time in election services, building and strengthening the people that work in election services, as well as a transition from the jail to the new correctional facility is going to consume an awful lot of bandwidth. Ag Center renovations, the future of the BCRC for the staff and the facility, South Campus renovations and relocation, and working hand in glove with HR for staff attraction and retention. All of this is also going to be coupled with working alongside of the commissioners for their goals and priorities to help mentor people in our staff, to provide a mission and vision, and also, more importantly, for me to support my successor. This team here is phenomenal. I'm sure the courts will see fit to appoint someone to fill my remaining term who will be just as enthusiastic and engaged as the colleagues I will be leaving effective January 9th. So with all that, I want to say thank you to everyone and the support that everyone has given me and the support you will give me in the future. And it's my honor to introduce my Deputy Chief Operations Officer, Larry Medaglia.
Good morning. Well, as a recovering politician now on my first day of recovery, I'm trying to keep this short and sweet. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the commissioners, Commissioner Leinbach, Commissioner Rivera, for this opportunity. I'm really excited about it. To Kevin, I'm really looking forward to working with you. I think we're going to do good things together. The same goes with all the department heads, the Board of Judges, the court-related departments, and of course, the other elected row officers. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my wife, Teresa, who she said, please don't mention my name, and I did anyway. So I'm just very happy that she's here. She has shared in this decision-making process from the beginning, and without her, I wouldn't be up here either. So thank you for that. And I also want to acknowledge my chief deputy. Suzanne Myers, if you would please just stand up. Suzanne has been fantastic. She has been with me. Suzanne has been with me since my very first day in the registrar's office, and Suzanne will be taking over as acting register of wills effective January 9th. So I'm very excited, and I know the office and the team down there will continue to do a great job serving the public. So thank you, Suzanne. And Suzanne is joined by her husband, Jamie. To the commissioners, Kevin and I know there's a great deal expected of us. We already determined there are over 40 projects that are either open or in the pipeline. Kevin and I honestly didn't know each other that well when this process started. You'd think after 15 years of his being here and mine being here for over 30, but because we work independently, we know each other to say hi in the halls and we see each other at different events. But this is going to be a great opportunity to get to know one another better and to work together. And I think that'll just work very nicely together. I think we have personalities that mesh nicely. We've already spent a lot of time meeting, planning, getting updated. And when we talked to Ron Seaman and saw all the various projects he's working on, I'll be honest with you, it's humbling. You realize that there's an awful lot going on. The county is a diverse operation and we're going to have our hands full, but I think we're up to the task. And as I mentioned, Kevin and I are getting to know each other better. I think we're going to make a really good team. And speaking of team, that is one of the things that most attracted me to this opportunity. The commissioners have established a team-oriented philosophy here. And as a coach for over 20 years, that really appeals to me. As a coach, you always like to see a deep bench. And we have a lot of talented people leading our departments, and so many good people in supporting roles. I've also mentioned my team in the registrar's office, and I want to thank them because the only reason I've looked good over 27 years is because they've made me that way. So it's tough to polish a, what do you say? You can finish the last of that. I also want to acknowledge Brittany Frankowski, who I will be teaming up with. Brittany, if you want to just wave, I think most people know Britt. Britt has served as Ron Siemens' executive assistant, and I'm looking forward to working with her. It's always good to have a team member who has a great deal of experience, and she's going to help get me up to speed. So, Brittany, I look forward to working with you. With that, I'd like to again thank the commissioners, and I'd like to turn things back over to Commissioner Leinbach. Thank you. Christian.
I want to start by making it clear that this becomes effective January the 9th. We're announcing this today in order to give time for both Commissioner Barnhart and Larry to transition with their current job and be in a position to take over leadership on January the 9th. I want to give special thanks to the team. Let me be very clear. I don't know that we would be here if this was just an effort led by Commissioner Rivera and myself. Our executive assistants were part of the team. Barbara Lopez, Anne Marie Grill, Ron Seaman, our COO, an integral part of this team, giving insight and ideas and thoughts. Our HR director, Jessica Weekneck, again, a critical part of the team. Our solicitor, Christine Sadler, and not just from a legal standpoint, but giving insight and experience. Bob Patrizio, our CFO. Quite frankly, some of the best questions asked as follow-ups came from Bob Patrizio. And Brian Gottschall, our Director of Emergency Services. You look at that group and you might say, how were they picked? They were picked based on people we felt could be most helpful in making a great decision for a new COO. And at the time, that's all we thought we were going to do. But when opportunity presents itself, good people, smart people, and I think this team was very smart, recognizes there may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We talk about sports teams, and I know Larry in particular loves that. And we often talk about trade deals, blockbusters. The Phillies, just signed as a free agent Trey Turner. That's a big deal. But what is often more important are the top-notch coaches that you bring on, the leadership that you bring on in a team. And our team, I believe, identified the best leaders going forward. A couple of thoughts. I look at this, and there's three things that come to mind that drove my decision to support both Commissioner Barnhart and Larry Medallia. Number one is experience. You cannot make up for experience. And one of the concerns that I had going into this effort was, how in the world do you take the knowledge from someone like Ron Seaman and extricate that knowledge and deliver it back in some usable form to somebody that's never been with the county before? I didn't know that answer. I was hopeful we could figure it out. But the experience that Kevin Barnhart brings, the experience that Larry Medallia brings of county government is unbelievable. When you look at the roles that they're going to be playing going forward, that experience becomes crucial. And they don't have the same experience. There's no doubt to the team that when we talked about direct report departments, Commissioner Barnhart has tremendous experience. He noted I missed his list by one. I wrote down Bob Patrizio was here as our CFO. Glenn Welsh was here as our public defender. I had Diane Edwards, but you're correct. She was with ICE, Youth Detention, and then the Berks Residential Center. She's been here the whole time, but Steve Skull in our print shop and mailroom was the other individual. That experience is significant. But if you look on the other hand, Larry Medaglia has a great relationship and a lot of experience with the courts. I believe when you were in the district attorney's office, Judge Johnson, the new president judge, interned with the DA's office and with Larry Medaglia. The court's experience is significant, the significance and experience with row officers. Secondly, it's about relationships. Experience is important, but when you talk about leadership, there needs to be relationships. And Commissioner Barnhart, as well as Larry Medaglia, bring a tremendous number of relationships to the table. Relationships here in this building, but outside of this building, with elected officials on both sides of the aisle. It's not lost on me that you have a well-known Democratic individual in Commissioner Barnhart, and you have a well-known Republican individual in Larry Medaglia. Larry and I actually go back to the late 80s with, believe it or not, young Republicans. Both of these gentlemen have relationships throughout Berks County. And then finally, and I think that this may be one of the most important, and that is their commitment, their demonstrated commitment to Berks County. You never know when you bring somebody on board in a position, especially if they're outside of county government or outside of the county, what kind of long-term commitment they have to the cause, to the county, to the employees, to the residents of this community. I don't think there's any question about the commitment of Kevin Barnhart and the commitment of Larry Medaglia. They've proven it. They've committed a good chunk of their adult lives to the county of Berks. And let me tell you, that means a lot. This was an idea that we floated in a meeting, in an executive session, actually over at the North Campus. And when it was floated out as a really crazy idea, because up to that point, we were only thinking about hiring a COO. And it is also very true. We were tougher on these two interviews than we were on the three outside. And the reason is very simple. We said to both of them, the fact that you're a known quantity is a double-edged sword. On one hand, we know a lot about you from experience that's good. On the other hand, we know a lot about you from experience that may not be 100% good. So we asked them about things that if they were going to another county, no one would have even asked them about. But their commitment is so important. So today, I can't tell you how excited. We went from a crazy idea a couple of weeks ago to something that I can't wait to see what the future brings under the leadership of Commissioner Kevin Barnhart, who will be Kevin Barnhart, our COO, and our new Deputy COO, Larry Medaglia. So, gentlemen, welcome to the team at a different level and a different title. We're thrilled to have you. Any questions or comments? And is somebody checking online? Let us know if there's anything online. Any questions? No questions. Okay. Thank you very much. We will be around. I know we have the Reading Eagle and WFMZ here, so we'll be around for any questions or comments that you may have. Gentlemen, thank you.